Well, Scott, I'm appreciative to have your time today. First of all, just to catch up with you. What were you
Yeah,
diagnosed with, and then what was the treatment plan they gave you?
I was diagnosed with obviously head and neck cancer. The I think it's the P16. I can't remember what one it was called. The treatment plan was essentially 35 radiation therapy sessions at a fairly high dose and a seven chemotherapy sessions that basically lasted approximately 2 months. Because it was over Christmas, there were some days when the centers were closed, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and New Year's Day and New Year's Eve. So I got instead of the 7 week version, I got the 8 week version of it. So.
How were you doing when you were on the products? How was your comfort level first on the
Um,
outside of your neck and then inside your mouth?
the comfort level on the outside of my neck and on the inside was great. I mean, I had no signs of, tanning, burning, etc. Probably for the first, I'm gonna say 5.5, 6 weeks, and then kind of week 6 through 8, I think I ran out. I think it was one of those holidays or something, and I ran out, and when I had the 4 or 5 days of radiation, it just kind of flared up and all became red and inflamed. And then they started to say, well, use, you should use the cream we gave you and you should use this wash and all of that. And I tried that for about 4, 5, 6 days, and all it did is burn more and it seemed to not heal. And then when I think I finally finished up radiation, and I said, no, I'm just going to go back to the NeoGenesis, regime of the recovery. I can't remember what the next one was, the barrier renewal and the M2B, and I did that for 4 or 5 days, and boom, it was all gone. I mean, everything was all, you know, the burning, the peeling, everything was back to normal. Fortunately, one of the doctors said, yeah, we've been doing this to these, head and neck P16 patients for 20 years and we haven't figured out a better way to do it, but it works. And I'm like, oh, yeah, great. So
What would you tell them about NeoGenesis and the products?
my brother-in-law, who went through the same cancer treatment 8, 10 years ago, said, wow, I can't believe you're after, he said, after 2 or 3 radiation therapists, his neck was red and then it started to blister week 2 or 3, and he had that till week 7 and beyond. And he was just shocked that, I had no, he goes, wow, it looks like you're not even getting treatment. And like if you look at the January photo here, that's already halfway into my treatment. I didn't know any different, but then I knew different when I didn't put it on and everything happened. And then the doctor kind of said, hey, why don't you use the stuff we gave you? And I tried that for probably about a week and it did nothing. And then after that, I said, no, I'm going back to just the Genesis regime. I certainly appreciate it. I think, it, I didn't realize how good it was doing until I ran out, you know. And then at the end, I kind of realized that, the treatment that they had with the alcohol patches and or non-alcohol patches and the I can't remember what they called it, putting on really did nothing, for your skin to rejuvenate it or do anything with it. I think it just kind of, you know, yeah, eventually it would probably heal, but it's probably a month or two process rather than a 3 to 5 day process. I appreciated being part of this as I find people that have this that say, hey, this is something you should check out.